All right, folks, welcome back to the show. As I mentioned in the intro, I'm very excited to welcome on Mr. Tom Tassone. He is the founder of Chicago Golf Tour. Tom, it's the first time we've actually had a chance to speak. I guess this is considered face-to-face in today's world. How are you today?
It is. I appreciate it. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me on.
You and I connected on Twitter not too long ago. I've
Okay.
been, now I've been following you. You've got some great content out there, and you can be followed at Chicago, at Golf Tour Chicago. Actually, I apologize for that.
hmm
Uh, Before we get into what Chicago Golf Tour is, why don't you let our listeners know a little bit about how you got involved in the game of golf?
Yeah. So I actually got started pretty late. I didn't grow up playing, which, if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have picked up a club pretty early on in my life. I got started when I was probably about 21, 22 down in Florida. That's where I was stationed at. So I picked up the game there, and that was about all there was to do down there. And then eventually I started playing about 36 holes a day and met a gentleman who was very tied to the game. And he's the one who, became a mentor to me, and it built my first set of clubs. And the rest is sort of history from there.
Nice. And so when you say you were stationed, you a military man?
I was Air Force.
Oh, thanks for your service, sir.
Thank you.
I know that the military has just an addiction to golf. I've had a couple on my show in the past, and I would imagine that from your experience, that's pretty true, right?
It's very true. I mean, especially, the base course. That's where I did majority of my playing. It was, right down the road. I got off at 6 a.m. in the morning, so it was wide open. Um, Plus, I was in Panama City, Florida. So, I mean, I couldn't really beat the golf weather compared to Chicago here.
Yeah, at the time of this recording, listeners, there is the snow's melting a little bit, but it is really cold out right now. And
It
then
is.
Tom and I are in the same Chicagoland area ish. And Tom, the Chicago Golf Tour is something that you founded. It's a brainchild that you brought to the community. And my understanding is it stems from a pretty interesting starting point, if I have your about page correct. Why don't you let us know how you came up with the idea?
Really, the idea it started, when I got home from Florida. I was basically on the search for just other golf junkies like myself. Me and my buddies, we just played recreationally, and I just always craved playing in a Scotch game or a money game or a tournament like Atmosphere, and that's kind of what got the ball rolling. We play in a couple tournament like atmospheres throughout the year in the neighborhood, and I
Mhm.
just thought this was a super cool format, and it seemed like everybody else enjoyed that competitiveness and a little bit of pressure, so to speak. And now that we're older, you know, other sports are kind of out of the question here. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, that's really how it started. And I looked around, didn't see much out there like this, and it started in the garage at the simulator hitting balls, and I mentioned the idea to my buddies, and they literally thought I was crazy. They thought, I would have maybe 30 guys in the first year. So, I anticipated, it being a good year with 50. And then
Mhm.
I threw out a feeler email after the first of the year in 2019. And that email kept getting forwarded on and forwarded on. And lo and behold, we had 107 members, that
Wow.
first year. So it kind of exploded.
I would say so. I mean, 107 people. I'd imagine that these were people you didn't know.
Nope. I mean, I would probably say I knew, you know, close to half,
Oh,
but
okay.
it was really getting into the hotbeds, I like to call them, the little hotbeds like you mentioned. Just there's little hotbeds of golf nerds in each community, whether that's your
Hmm.
cousins, your uncles. You got to find the guys that are playing 40 times a year. Um, and then also there's the weekend warriors. Those guys loved it too. So it was just a matter of reaching those guys and then getting the message out and extending our reach, and then it all came together. So
So was the model always to have three tours? Because right now, as I understand it, it's comprised of the north, south, and west sides. Or was it always just to kind of keep it as simple?
It wasn't. It actually, so, it all started in 2019 with the inception of the Southside Tour. That's where I reside in
Hmm.
Oak Lawn here. So, um, but the bigger the Southside got, especially after last year, we had 137 guys. We started to get, a pretty big demand from the West, obviously being a huge component of the Chicagoland golf area or community, as well as the North Side. So, it only made sense. We rebranded, so to speak, from the Southside Tour to the Chicago Golf Tour, and now, yeah, we'll have three active tours in 2021 here.
That's incredible. And, just folks, if you go out to shygolftour.com, you get a sense of just the scope, Tom, of what you've put together. So, how does the typical season look for one of your tours?
So a typical season it's a 12 event schedule per tour. We play six regular events, four majors, a playoff, and a championship. You're guaranteed 10 events, and we run our schedule parallel with the PGA Tour. So, when the Masters is on in April, we're playing our Masters. It kind of, it builds up the atmosphere and gets guys, jacked to play that event. We also utilize a FedEx point system, just like the PGA Tour. So we kind of modeled it. Basically, we're just a bunch of amateurs looking to make that, PGA Tour dream, come true. So that's really the model here.
That's so much fun. And, as I'm learning more about the Chicago Golf Tour, it sounds like such a great time just to go out and network and meet a few people that all have the common interest of golf. And as I understand, there's handicaps are involved for this.
They are.
Okay.
So
And
it's
so,
it's a it's a flighted net handicap. So we get guys that are, you know, in the mid 20s, and we have guys that, are pluses. Some of
wow.
the best amateurs in the state. Over the last 2 years, the average handicap has been about 12 to 14.
Hmm.
Um, and then as well as the age demographic, it's been around 38. I think this year we're going to increase that a little bit, just because we're taking on more guys. So it's just overall, it's just a bunch of amateur golfers that like to compete. Like I said, these guys, it's definitely not a beer league, but we're not too uptight. We like to, keep it, even keel.
Mhm.
Just guys that like to go out and play.
I'm glad you brought that up because one of the questions I was wondering, level of play
Hmm.
and how serious, for lack of a better phrase, people take it, because you sometimes hear about leagues. This isn't a men's league,
No,
right? This is something where you actually want to come out and compete and feel that pressure, as you said earlier.
absolutely. So one of the biggest things that I didn't even forecast was, um, so when you go out and play your official round, right, you have to play with one other member on tour to attest for your score. Um, and before the first tee box, you need to declare to your partner whether that's going to be your official round or your practice round.
Hmm.
And I couldn't believe the first event where I looked over at my buddy and I said, "Hey, this is going to be my official round. I can't make it back out here." And then I stood over my first tee shot, and it felt like, I was at Augusta. Like, I was nervous because I knew that score was going towards official scoring, whether I liked it or not. It was going up on the website. It was going up on the leaderboard for everybody to see. So it definitely builds some pressure and creates, a tournament like atmosphere.
Now, I haven't played in too many situations like that where, you get that feeling like maybe a money game with my friends
Sure.
when I'm down and I just pressed.
Right.
But that sounds like a completely different spin on the game that a lot of us who I did not play competitively in high school or college or anything. That's a new taste of the game that I think maybe a lot of people would appreciate.
Yeah, it's just it's a little bit, it's different. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely enjoy going to slap around with guys that really aren't taking it too seriously and just maybe like to have a beer or two.
Sure.
Sure. I'm all about that, especially networking. Over the years I've learned to maybe not take it so seriously. The game sometimes works out better for me. But during the official round, yeah, it's all business. It's pretty funny, even in the playoff finale last year. So our format is pretty unique and to where, for our majors and for our playoffs, because they're worth more points, we do a random computer generated pod, and
Hmm.
you have to play with one other member, and you might not know one other member in that pod, and you got to go out and play with them.
Hmm.
So it creates a little bit of pressure going in, because you're like, man, who's this other guy I'm playing with? Um, and then again, you have to go show your game. So, if you were up to the course and you're supposed to be a 9 and you're playing with this guy and you fire a 95, he's going to be like, man, I thought you were a 9. So there's definitely, some strategy. There's definitely some nerves, a whole lot of them, especially come, playoff and championship. Um, but yeah, it's a ton of fun.
And man, I'm getting nervous now. Like, because you and I were talking a little bit. A few buddies of mine have been keeping a close eye on the Chicago Golf Tour. We're going to try to maybe play it this year. And the guys I play with, they're really strong players, and
Hmm.
they will enjoy the hell out of this, I'm sure.
Right.
And not only because of the camaraderie, because you get to meet some new people, you get to play against people to kind of keep you honest, like you just pointed out, but you also get to
Right.
play some pretty interesting courses. I mean, just to name a few for our listeners, we've got George Dunn National, we've got Old Oak Country Club, we've got Glen Woody, Cinder Ridge, Ravislow. I mean, you guys partner with quite a few courses.
We did, and the 2021 schedule is looking, pretty fire. I mean, we're almost finalized in the north and the west, and I'm a little jealous of those guys. I might jump on the west side tour this year just because of the courses. It's a gold mine out there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're going out to Cantigny this year. Orchard Valley, the Glen Club. We got a lot of great tracks on the 2021 schedule, and it was mainly molded around flexibility, right? So
Mhm.
that's how the format started. Was how do we bring flexibility not only to the players but the courses as well, and that's why we give our members 2 weeks to play each event.
Mhm.
And that's for a couple of reasons. So the summertime is super busy, right? You have a wedding, a birthday party, that weekend is gone. Um, so we give our players 2 weeks not only for that reason, but for the courses as well.
Mhm.
So I'm sure you've played in your fair share of 1 day outings or corporate events.
Sure.
In my opinion, they are brutal. They take forever. The course is congested, and we alleviate that problem by playing over 2 weeks. We sprinkle our guys, on a course tee sheet over 2 weeks, and they really don't ever know we were there. I have
Mhm.
guys that are brokers, lenders that play at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday, and then I have the older guys that like to play in foursomes on Saturday, Sunday. So we kind of mix it up, and yeah, the flexibility is by far the biggest compliment that we've received.
Yeah, that makes it so easy to get involved, because I think people who might be interested in joining something like this, they need to know the commitment, or
Right.
they're wondering about the commitment, and this, like you just explained, makes it very easy to get involved.
Right. And you don't have to play every event. Obviously the more events you play, you earn points based on completion of each event. So understandable if you have something going on a week or two. Um, Obviously you want to try to make all the majors because they're worth a little bit more. But yeah, it's entirely up to you, and we try to cater to the players' schedules.
I guarantee you that if I won the Masters, I would tell people I won the Masters.
Ab- Absolutely. We,
So
we we have guys that do that.
God bless them. Getting involved then, walk me through how I get started. Would I sign up at the site? Is there an entry fee? All that.
Yeah. So if you go to our website, shygolftour.com, it'll take you right to the landing page. You could register there. You'll also have access to tour the website and check out the schedules for 2021. Also, there's more information there. And then, yeah, the entry fee is $200. That's for just one tour membership. You could potentially play on all three if you know, if you don't have a family and you know, the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything's laid out there for you. Um, but yeah, shygolftour.com.
And for the entry fee, which is totally reasonable, does that equate to anything at the courses? I mean, obviously they're waiting for you to come,
Right.
and they're probably going to welcome you with open arms.
Yeah. So the entry fee solely goes towards event payouts and then
Hmm.
end of year purse.
Okay.
So um, what we do is we go to these courses and we negotiate the greens fee and food and beverage fee. So we get you discounted rates on, you know, greens fee, food and beverage for that entire 2 weeks. So if you go play your practice round, you'll play your practice round and your official round at the same rate.
Hmm. Very cool. Very cool. And so, and once again, folks listening to this and viewers on YouTube, these are not insignificant courses. I mean, Tom mentioned it. There are some hidden gems throughout the Chicagoland area and beyond, even that if you've not had the chance to experience, this might be a good way to do so. And you named a couple courses right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cantigny is one of my favorites, if not my favorite. The Glen Club is absolutely outstanding.
Right.
This is just a true test of golf for people who really want to experience something like that.
Yeah. I mean, we try to. I think I think we get complacent sometimes. I think we're very spoiled in Illinois with the amount of great tracks we have,
Mhm.
um, especially in the West, in the North. I mean, all over really. But you know, the the amount of courses that we have in Illinois, just in general, like I've been waiting to go play Bull Valley. Like I've been looking
Yeah.
at pictures on Twitter and what was the one I seen the other day? Was it Sycamore?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we're just it's not that far. It's you're looking at maybe a 30-minute drive, but I get it. We tend to stay in our regions. That's kind of why we developed the north, the west, and the south. Um, but yeah, there's just a bunch of gems all over the place, and um, especially the Heritage Bluffs that don't get a whole lot of love.
Yep.
And that course is phenomenal.
Hmm. It's absolutely phenomenal. I actually had the opportunity to go out there with a buddy of mine, Chris McEwen, who shot a commercial there, and it's just a great, unique golf course. It's a lot of fun. It's a good test for anyone of any caliber. And Tom, as you've gone through this now, we're getting into 2021. The season is just around the corner.
Hmm.
It's what I like to tell myself so I can get through these cold days. What's been the most rewarding part of doing this for you?
Basically, building the game, so to speak. I know you know, that might not sound like it's growing the game, but you'd be surprised how many guys email me or reach out to me and say, hey, you know, my softball, my basketball days are over. I picked up a club and I've heard about what you're doing. I'd love to come join. And it's honestly it's bringing guys. It's the whole networking factor, and then just the golf community, us golf nerds. It's something that I don't think people understand,
Yeah.
especially very passionate golfers. Um, but yeah, it's basically just bringing everybody together from their certain neighborhoods and being able to compete. You know, in something that we really haven't, like you mentioned, we haven't done that before. Whether it's been high school or collegiate, we don't really know what that's like.
Mhm.
But playing on the Chicago Golf Tour, you figure that out pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, I can imagine so. And I could also just imagine some of the stories that are shared, some of the, you get to learn a little bit about different neighborhoods and different
Mhm.
courses that people have played. So it sounds like it's a great opportunity, to even play beyond the tour. I mean, if you probably make a lot of friends out there and say, hey, let's go play next weekend too.
Right, absolutely. And getting back to the networking thing, it's definitely brought a lot of guys some business. So whether that's you're involved in real estate or you're a lender, what have you, um, guys are definitely looking towards other avenues to bring a client out or to meet guys. And then it's just your standard golfer. A lot of guys are like, they're trying to find places where they can meet other guys that maybe play 3 times a week or
Hmm.
um, yeah, it's just a great community of golfers looking for other golf, like-minded people.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, we have it all the way from the north to the south, and now the west. So
How about age group? Does it span pretty much a wide range?
yeah, it's pretty wide. I mean, it's definitely it's definitely not. I would say so. Over the last couple of years, it's been about 38 is probably
Okay.
the average. You know, and I'm 34, so that's still pretty young. But we have
Mhm.
actually a member just signed up yesterday, 71.
No kidding.
Yeah, this guy emailed me. He said, "Hey, my dad." He asked about tees. He said, "You have, um, you know, designed tees for certain age or group?" And I said, "We do. We play combo tees depending on
Mhm.
handicap or age."
Mhm.
And he said, "My dad's 71. He's looking to join." And then all of a sudden, I got an email from his father with his CDAGA number and his payment, and I'm like, God bless him. I mean, to be 71 still playing that, I mean, that's awesome.
That's
That's
pretty
golf. That's
cool.
golf for you.
Yeah, that is golf for you. It appeals to just a wide range of different people, different ages, and that just sounds like a hell of a time to go out there and do that. Now, you had mentioned the immense volume that you got in year one, something that was even beyond what you expected.
Hmm.
What's been the biggest challenge for you so far?
I would say so far, it's probably been the pandemic. Although this past year, we're fortunate to where, with our format, like I mentioned, you only have to play with one other member, on tour. So last year's whole twosome rule
Hmm.
played right into our hand. So that wasn't an issue. It's the volume that the courses are getting, which in turn is kind of um, hindering us because they're like, well, we were pretty busy last year. Why do we need to discount you? Or,
Hmm.
we don't need to discount you, which I definitely see both sides of that. I understand it's a business. Um, we're just looking to build relationships with these courses, and we're looking for longevity here. So,
Yeah.
but that's probably been the biggest hurdle. Um, Other than that, I would just say, getting the word out, primarily to the north side or in the west side where we don't have a lot of family or friends.
Mhm.
We're just trying to reach as many people as possible at this point.
That's a good problem to have
Right.
because definitely going to have a lot of ears listening to this. Hopefully, a lot of eyeballs on YouTube. And once again, folks, go out to their website at shygolftour.com, and you can also follow them on Twitter and social media at Golf Tour Chicago, and go get involved. And listeners, I know that this is a very Chicago specific episode,
Hmm.
but there's a lot of you that listen. And I know I can think of a few names right now that I'm going to text as soon as we're done with our conversations. Like, we got to go do this. Um, you are correct. The pandemic. Hopefully we've turned that corner. Hopefully 21 is going to be another year where golf just sees this huge boom in the industry.
Right.
Um, for course, because there's a lot of courses that listen to this too.
Hmm.
Are you accepting new courses to get involved? How does that work?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I obviously I'm a little biased here, but in terms of you know in terms of generating outing revenue
Mhm.
and not having your course congested on one day, and still allowing courses to operate under normal capacity, for me that's a no-brainer, and that's
Mhm.
that's part of what went into you know running this whole thing was, how do we alleviate that course congestion? How do we minimize communication between, ourselves and the course so that it's not complete chaos? Basically, if you're looking for, some exposure to your course and guys that play, 40, 50 times a year, and they're willing to drive back to your course, and um, we're sitting here with open arms waiting for courses to email us. But I get it. Those guys are busy. They're
Sure.
especially this past year they've been swamped. But yeah, we're definitely open to um, really anything. I'm very flexible. I'm sure we could work something out.
Are you already partners with Cog Hill at all?
We are.
Oh, okay, excellent. Because I was
We are.
about to call out a name right now because I know he
So,
listens, and I was like, look, you got to get involved. So, but that's
so
good.
yeah, so COG is actually the only course that is on two schedules. So they're on the
Really?
south side. Yeah. Um, they're on the south side and the west side tour.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just because of their geographical location,
Hmm.
it kind of makes sense. There could be a potential course up north that we're currently partnered with,
Hmm.
um, that might double dip as well. But for the time being, yeah, Cog's the only one on both schedules.
Excellent, excellent. Well, listeners now out there, if any of you are at one of the courses, and I know who you are, be sure to let me know. I'm sure I'll get you in touch with Tom. And Tom, thanks so much for coming on. And once again, folks, go out to their website at shygolftour.com. Learn all about it. They got a great thing going here. It's a great way to learn not only more about different courses in the area, to go play them, experience them, to have a little bit of competitiveness in there,
Mhm.
and also to just meet some pretty cool people. So Tom, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me.